This is Backstage Bay Area, your all-access pass to the local music scene.
This is Backstage Bay Area, and I'm Steve Roby. Today we leave our Golden Gate backdrop behind and head east to Lincoln, Nebraska, home of the trio known as the Wildwoods. That's Noah and Chloe Gose and their bandmate Andrew Vagelis. They've just wrapped up recording their fourth album, Dear Meadowlark, with upright bass, violin, acoustic guitar, and warm three-part harmonies. They've created songs about homesickness, long roads, and the comfort of home. We'll discuss the chemistry behind their harmonies, how they bring intimacy to live performances, and what it means to stay grounded while constantly on the move. But first, here's their brand new single, Sweet Niobrara, right here on Backstage Bay Area.
Feeling of the highway and the rumble and the kick beneath my toes. The freedom of the asphalt, the smell of it still lingers on my clothes. Double lines like dominoes fall against each other on the open road. I won't forget you when you're next to me. I'll sound the horn to keep you away. Sweet Niobrara, in the morning I will leave for Valentine. Highway 12 is a fine stretch of country to clear a foggy mind. Oh, Niobrara, I am leaving you behind. Stopping for a miller, dirty glasses from the farmer's muddy hands. The cracking jokes across the bar, a day of working on the precious land. Near the end of harvest, the clouds they roam like buffalo in the sky. A simple way of living can sharpen up the dolorous hours. Sweet Niobrara, in the morning I will leave for Valentine. Highway 12 is a fine stretch of country to clear a foggy mind. Oh, Niobrara, I am leaving you behind. Sweet Niobrara, in the morning I will leave for Valentine. Highway 12 is a fine stretch of country to clear a foggy mind. Oh, Niobrara, I am leaving you, Niobrara. I am leaving you, Niobrara. I am leaving you behind.
This is Backstage Bay Area, and that was Sweet Niobrara by the Wildwoods. And joining me now are Noah and Chloe Gose. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having us.
Let's start at the beginning and your musical roots. You began making music together back in junior high. What was it about your voices and instruments that made this trio feel special?
Well, gosh, Steve, if we're reeling it all the way back to the very beginning, Lincoln is as we've gotten older, of course, we've met so many incredible musicians here in Lincoln, but back in the day, the small circles of friends that we had separately, there weren't a lot of musicians, I guess, around us. And so through mutual friends, I learned that Chloe played the violin. Honestly, it didn't really matter what instrument. I was just kind of excited to hear that there was another musician around that was, just as, I guess, passionate or interested in music and songwriting as I was. And so we met up, and the first handful of years were very rough, but we've been playing together for about 13 years now. So over time, we've just really evolved with each other.
Well, were there any musical influences that got you started in the direction you are now?
Definitely. My father's a huge John Prine fan, and so there was a lot of John Prine being played around the house. There's always a lot of classic rock radio being played in my younger years, and so I really kind of held on to Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young when it would come on, and just kind of these old harmony masters, I guess, really just struck a chord with me growing up.
Yeah, I think both of us were kind of drawn to like that acoustic era of music and the harmonies out of all of them. Like my mom and family listened to a lot of Neil Young and Tom Petty growing up. But when I met Noah, it was so cool to be able to like sing and try harmonizing with each other. We had never done that with any other musicians before. And I still remember the first time Noah wrote a song and we wanted to sing harmonies together on it. It was the first time we ever did. We took the song to his piano teacher and she helped us create harmonies for the song. And yeah, that's kind of, we just fell in love with it from there.
Have you had any challenges along the way musically?
Every single day.
Okay.
I think it's really cool to be able to call ourselves musicians for our profession, because it's one of the careers, I mean, all careers you can continue to grow with, but I really do feel like we're constantly learning new things and just how to improve our skills, or even just taking different perspectives and ideas from other artists and musicians that we love and listen to. It's an ever-evolving career path, and you never know what's going to happen. Like, we can always have goals set in mind that we want to try to reach, but it's kind of like the music is just taking us wherever it wants to.
Yeah. And I wish I could say that we are, savants, or it just comes, as naturally to us. But unfortunately, that's not the case. We spend, countless hours really trying to dial in, the blend and the balance and then tone and whatnot. So a lot of challenges musically for sure come up quite often, but I think we work together really well, I think, which is what has kept us, in sort of a driven mindset to continue to share our music. And so, a lot of long nights.
Those musical talents certainly come through on your latest single, and it paints a vivid picture of Nebraska's Niobrara River Valley. Can you walk us through how that song came together?
Yeah, so Noah and I, before Andy started touring with us and playing with us full time, it was just the two of us. And our band has kind of evolved over the years of just many different musicians being in our band. But there were several years during COVID and right after COVID where we were touring and playing just as a duo. And every summer we used to take trips up to the Niobrara River near Valentine, Nebraska. And that stretch of country, that stretch of Nebraska is super, super beautiful. And I remember we were actually on a tour. This wasn't during one of our Niobrara trips, but we were on a tour and we just so happened to be driving through that part of Nebraska near Valentine. I think we were going to South Dakota maybe. And we took a stop on the side of the road. It was the most beautiful sunset, and there was a field of sunflowers like sitting across the highway. And I think that moment kind of just inspired the song. Noah wrote it, and we wanted to really create like a imagery of how beautiful Nebraska is and the slow living that is here. Like, there's a lot of farmers, a lot of agriculture. I mean, it's really only Lincoln and Omaha are the biggest cities, and then everything else is just farmland.
Sounds beautiful.
It is beautiful, yeah, and a lot of people don't know that because most people don't even think about Nebraska when they're looking for vacation spots or whatever, but I wouldn't necessarily say maybe it's a vacation spot, but I always say there's beauty in the simplicity of how things are here. It's just a little bit slower pace than a lot of larger cities. And I think Noah captured that really well with the lyrics and the counter melodies going on between the two, the guitars and the harmonies in the song.
Yeah, we were coming home from a tour that was where we encountered a lot of high traffic areas, and I don't know if anybody's a fan of traffic, so that's probably crazy to say, but I'm not a fan of traffic. And so we got back, we drove through that part of the state, got back home, and I was just kind of reminiscing on how nice it was to drive, through a stretch where there was no traffic at all. And that's what kind of inspired sort of the vehicle sections of the song, is just being out on those open highways where, it's nothing but, nature and open roads. And there's just a real beauty that comes with the solitude.
Could you talk about your single microphone technique to get that close-knit sound? What is that musical chemistry and the audience's experience like when you do that?
We don't do the single mic thing a whole lot in a live setting. We used to when we were playing sort of smaller cafe, I guess, type places. But as we've evolved and grown, and our audiences very thankfully have grown as well, it's become a bit trickier to, I guess, dial in the single mic thing in a larger space due to feedback, or some venues it's very possible, but there are a lot of places where it's quite tricky. But we record a lot of stuff on single microphone. Nothing on the album was single microphone, but a lot of videos that we do or demos and whatnot are done through single mic, and we just, I guess, have found a good balance when doing that. That's the most important thing when recording into a single mic, is just really understanding the balance and just really listening to each other as closely as possible. And so I think our musical chemistry in that regard has allowed us to, I guess, really focus, I guess, on that balance.
Yeah, I feel like when the audience sees that, whether or not that's an audience at a live show or just someone watching us on our Instagram page, I think it gives a more intimate feel, and it kind of invites the listener to, like, they're sitting in our living room with us, because it's very intimate and close when we're singing together in that way. But in a lot of ways, and we've said this because we want to try to incorporate the single mic thing for at least a couple songs in our live sets, it feels easier for all three of us to blend and really just be able to listen and hear each other and sing off of each other when we're singing that closely.
Yeah, it certainly makes a nice visual.
Yeah, and that too.
Well, let's talk about your new album, Dear Meadowlark. It's been described as a love letter to Nebraska and a meditation on life away from home. How did those themes come through in the song, which I'm going to play next, called I Will Follow You to Willow?
So right after Noah and I graduated college, we immediately started touring, and those first few months of touring were really hard. We were away from home most of that year, and it was kind of like we were so excited to get away from Nebraska and experience other states or just other parts of the country that we had never been to before. And then after doing that for so long, it made us miss home and just really, maybe not even miss it, but just appreciate it when we're here. We grew a new appreciation for our home state. And even though those first few months of touring were really rough and just being gone from our friends and family, it was also kind of rough determining if this was the right career choice, because we had some dud shows. I mean, every musician in their early stages, I mean, even not in their early stages, have shows where they're like, oh, I don't know if I should be doing this. What am I doing with my life? But kind of I Will Follow You to Willow is like like a message of Noah and I to each other, or just if someone else can connect with it, that we're gonna follow each other anywhere life takes us. We'll always be by each other's side. Yeah, and that always brings us back to home of Nebraska.
Sounds good. Well, let's take a listen to it now. This is the Wildwoods with I Will Follow You to Willow.
Well, I didn't even notice the world went out of focus. The sun became a spotlight and the earth became your stage. When you were just a shadow, the oceans were still shallow. The forests were just seeds and they seemed far too many days. Oh, my dear, you're just as lovely after oh so many years. All I know is seeking comfort in the same old eyes and ears. I follow you. I will follow you to Willow, and I will wait outside your window. There's something in the silver cotton sky, something in the rhythm of the ride. I will follow you to Willow. I will wait outside your window. There's something in the tires turning around, 40,000 miles of covered ground. Oh, my dear, grab a hat, a coat, and a dime for a souvenir. You must know that I will comfort you in times of heavy tears. I'll follow you. I will follow you to Willow, and I will wait outside your window. There's something in the silver cotton sky, something in the rhythm of the ride. I will follow you to Willow. I will wait outside your window. There's something in the tires turning around, 40,000 miles of covered ground. And I'll be around. And I'll be around. And I'll be
That's a track from the Wildwoods album Dear Meadowlark. This is Backstage Bay Area. I'm Steve Roby, and I'm speaking with members Noah and Chloe Gose. Critics often compare your sound to Nickel Creek or Gillian Welch, but you've also mentioned Paul Simon and the great Joni Mitchell as key influences. How do you keep those inspirations present without losing your own voice?
Oh gosh, that's a tricky one, Steve.
That's my job.
It's I guess we'll kind of be, really getting into listening to someone, say, like, during the writing of Dear Meadowlark, I was having a huge Paul Simon listening era, I guess, which I do that sort of every couple of years, where all I listen to for a stretch of time is Paul Simon, just because he's such a master of songwriting. And I've never sat down and tried to write a Paul Simon song. It's just kind of yeah, gosh, I don't know. That's a tricky question. I guess the influences, I don't know if you are able to hear any of those influences listed in our music, but yeah, I guess it just kind of subconsciously creeps in a little bit. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Now, Noah, you said the best advice you ever got was to make music for yourself and not for others. How does that philosophy shape your work today?
I think it's really easy to get caught up in, especially in the age of social media, to get caught up in trends and trying to write music. Like if you see an artist doing super well online, it can get really easy to get in your own head and be like, wow, why is no one listening to my song, but they're listening to their song? I need to write a song like that. And if we were to go down that path, or if any other artist or musician has tried to do that, I feel like it just isn't fulfilling. You're just eventually, maybe in the beginning, if people do then start to fall in love with what you're doing because it's starting to sound like someone else's music, I feel like that could get old really quickly. So that's why we say that, because what else is there in life except to live for yourself, I guess, and for others. But if you're not enjoying what you're creating or what you're doing, you can't really expect anyone else to do the same.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's important as an artist. I think in any realm, it's important to embrace what comes naturally to you, instead of seeking out ways you can change. I think just, really honing in on what you got or what's coming to you organically, is a very important mindset, I think, to have in a world where, there's so much all around us that can make us feel like we're, lesser or something like that.
For
It's
sure,
just
yeah.
important to keep it natural.
Keep it natural. Great advice. You guys have 2 shows coming up in Mill Valley at the legendary Sweetwater Music Hall. What a great place to play. What can folks expect when they come out to see your show?
Well, they can expect not just music. We tell a lot of stories. We like to make people laugh. We like to laugh with the people, and it'll be a hoot.
Yeah, we tell a lot of stories and jokes on stage. I think mostly because being on stage is a little bit uncomfortable for us. So the best way for us to feel more comfortable is just by talking to the audience as if they're like our neighbor down the street.
Yeah. You'll love the Mill Valley audience too.
I'm so excited. Yeah. We've always wanted to play there, so it'll be a really good show.
Oh, it's a nice venue, and they take care of the musicians backstage too. So look forward to that.
Beautiful.
And before I let you go, where can folks find out more about your music online?
They can go to our website, thewildwoodsband.com, and we're also all over social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, I guess they call it now, and YouTube. And all of our music is on every streaming platform that you can think of.
Nice. Noe and Chloe, thanks so much for joining us today, and have fantastic shows. I was going to say show. You're doing 2 shows in Mill Valley. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having us, Steve.
We'll be right back after this message.
Hey musicians, would you like to be a guest on Backstage Bay Area? Just email the host and let him know when you'll be playing in the Bay Area. The address is backstage.sfbay@gmail.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
Thank you for listening to Backstage Bay Area. I'm Steve Roby. Until next time, keep supporting the artists who make our local music scene so vibrant. And don't forget to check out the Wildwoods' new album, Dear Meadowlark. Thanks for listening.